So, what is the pathway forward in the wake of this confirmation hearing that was successfully carried out for Justice Brett Kavanaugh? We know that Democrats are threatening to investigate, and if they take over the House of Representatives, they are threatening to maybe move to impeach Justice Kavanaugh from the Supreme Court. We know that Nancy Pelosi's come out in the last 24 hours and said that she's going to make FOIA requests. She wants all the FBI materials, all that sort of stuff coming out. She wants to be able to make it public so people understand what really happened here with the nomination of Justice Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. Thought it'd be a great time to welcome into the show. Welcome back to the show, Larry Klayman, the founder of Freedom Watch. FreedomWatchUSA.org is that website. He's a former federal prosecutor. You can always follow Larry on Twitter at FreedomWatchWeb. Larry, good to have you back. Your thoughts in the aftermath and the wake of this very bitter confirmation hearing and very close vote on Saturday. What are we thinking?
Right, if you're a conservative and you're an American or even a Republican, I say in the words of Clint Eastwood, make my day. If they want to pursue this course and continue to persecute this judge, who's now a justice of the Supreme Court, the president's right. He just gave a little news conference getting onto Air Force One, incredibly, with Rod Rosenstein. We won't get into that. But he says this is going to create a wave for November 6th. I believe it may do that, and it may deprive Nancy Pelosi. By the way, she's not going to get anything through FOIA requests. It won't be for years. I can guarantee that. It may create a wave. In fact, the Republicans retain control of the House of Representatives because now they want to impeach not just the president, but they want to impeach Justice Kavanaugh. Who else do they want to impeach? They should impeach themselves for the way they behaved.
So when you look at the way this unfolded, because we do know for his part, Senator McConnell, Majority Leader McConnell in the Senate over the weekend said, listen, we want to do an investigation inside the Senate, and we want to do it inside the Judiciary Committee to figure out where the original Ford letter leak came from. Is that ever knowable? Do you think that that's a possible course of action, that they'll be able to divine the sourcing of that leak, Larry?
But I think that's just a threat in reverse. What they're basically saying is, hey, you want to start this? We'll finish it. They really don't want to do that. And what does it accomplish at this point in time? So Mitch McConnell's riding high today, although he made some remarks yesterday on Fox News, which I didn't care for. But we won't get into that here. But he's riding high. He's not going to open this thing up. It's like a can of worms. And in addition, others in the Republican Party are not going to want to open it up either. But what they're saying is if Democrats want to pursue this, then we're going to pursue this issue of the leaks. But, you know, nothing ever happens on Capitol Hill. They never hold anybody accountable. In my lifetime, not one person has been held accountable. So it's all a dog and pony show. It's a kabuki theater by both political parties. But the bottom line here is the Democrats want to go ahead and start impeaching everybody under the sun. They're going to probably pay a price at the election box on November 6th.
Let me take you to a tangential place here, Larry. It's relevant in that it was sort of knocked off the front pages for about the last month. That is obviously the Mueller investigation's gone very quiet. We saw some developments at the end of August and maybe in the very beginning of September, but that's sort of been off the front pages. So have the efforts by the people at the House Intelligence Committee to get to the bottom of things like Bruce Orr and Baker and those folks. That sort of stuff, looking at the Russia investigation and the investigation into the Russia investigation, that stuff's been knocked off the front pages. You mentioned Rod Rosenstein. He was originally scheduled to have that White House meeting with President Trump. Then the FBI stuff broke out with Brett Kavanaugh. What's the state of play on all that from the perspective of Freedom Watch?
That'll be back, and we have a number of lawsuits that are pending about leaks of Robert Mueller to the media. They dragged their heels. The judge ordered them to cough everything up by November 2nd. Those are likely criminal grand jury leaks. It could be the end of Mueller. It could be the end of Rosenstein once people see what went on, because that's illegal. But as far as what the president's doing right now, he's trying to damp it down. And he's being Machiavellian, I believe, with Rosenstein. He's saying, okay, I'll keep you on, but now you're going to play by my rules. And I don't agree with that, by the way. I love this president. I support him. But as a matter of principle, Rosenstein has to be fired. He's like having Brutus inside of the Roman Senate, having told people that he was going to wire himself and catch the president in statements that will wind up getting him removed under the 25th Amendment. But this is all coming back. And Mueller, who recently let go a couple prosecutors, I believe, has written an impeachment report, which is going to be so damning that if the Democrats take control, of Congress, there will be impeachment, not likely conviction because you need 2/3 in the Senate, but that'll grind the country to a halt. And we need to start focusing again on Mueller. We need to get rid of him. We have citizens' grand juries. We're going to seek his indictment for violating his oath of office, for grand jury leaks, those kinds of things. But this is a real threat over the horizon. And although the president feels like he's riding high today, that may not be the case in a few weeks.
In terms of those citizen grand juries, can you elaborate a little bit on that? Some folks in the audience may not be totally familiar with this concept. How would that come to be?
Well, we're going to commence that in early November. We were going to do it sooner, but we regrouped. We're going to do it in Orange County, California. And Justice Scalia in 1992, in a case, United States versus Williams, said the grand jury does not belong to the three branches of government. It belongs to the American people. Now, before we had a Justice Department, which began on July 1st, 1870, the American people meted out justice themselves. So we're going to choose grand jurors from neutral voter rolls. We're going to seek a retired judge. We're going to get indictments. We're going to try. We're going to convict. We're going to sentence. And then we're going to put it on President Trump's desk and say, look, enforce the will of the people. These sentences need to be meted out. And a lot of individuals by the name of Robert Mueller, Rod Rosenstein, even the Attorney General, the Clintons, Obama, they're Republicans as well, they need to be held accountable under the rule of law. We don't have a Justice Department anymore. Freedom Watch is trying to fill that void for the American people. I'm a trial lawyer of 41 years. I'm a former federal prosecutor. Someone's got to put their foot forward. They're being too cute in Washington. The president's lawyers, they're establishment people themselves, so they don't want to really go for the fences here. They're basically playing along, hoping that Mueller does the right thing, but he's not going to do the right thing. And we can see that what happened with Kavanaugh is a harbinger of things to come with regard to this clash between left and right. And make no mistake about it, the left, which now controls Mueller and others, wants to take the president down. I might add one other thing, Brett, is that the Attorney General Sessions, he's become the darling of the left. They don't want him to leave. And that's because the deck is stacked against the president right now.
Yeah, it is a fascinating thing. And with our final remaining minutes here, we've got about a minute and a half left, Larry. As you look at the Department of Justice on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being complete and total, 0 being none at all, what would you guess is the percentage of the Department of Justice that is Trump hostile? That is to say, either working affirmatively for the resistance or cooperating with the resistance inside that department?
Well, that's a great question. I'm a former alumnus. I would say, and Newt Gingrich refers to a study all the time, that 97% of the lawyers at the Justice Department either voted for Hillary Clinton or contributed to her campaign or both. And they're highly Democrat. I'm up against them every day. Even during Republican administrations, the Federal Programs Branch, which defends the so-called government and all these agencies, as a general rule, is so highly partisan. And frankly, they don't tell the truth. I mean, they're young kids, some of them. They've got supervisors. They've been sanctioned by Judge Hainan in Texas for lying during the amnesty fight over Obama's amnesty for 5 million illegal aliens. No, it's highly politicized, and it is ground to a halt. Our Justice Department does not exist as we ever knew it, and it was always politicized. But right now, it's unbelievably in favor of Democrats, in favor of removing Trump and doing everything they can to hurt this administration.
Fascinating conversation. Always like to have you on, Larry, and I look forward to our next visit. Larry Klayman's the founder of Freedom Watch. More information at freedomwatchusa.org is the website. He's a former federal prosecutor, as you heard, and you can follow him on Twitter at FreedomWatchWeb, FreedomWatchWeb. We appreciate you, Larry, what you're trying to do out there, and look forward to our next visit, my friend. All right, that's Larry Klayman. Good to have him on the program. 877-Newsmax, 877-Newsmax, your number to have your voice heard. A lot to consider on the table. Where are you in the Kavanaugh fight and the fight to maybe possibly impeach and remove Justice Brett Kavanaugh from the Supreme Court by the progressive left? Brett Winterble Show.